I've been with the Hurricanes for about 8 months.
8.
I was working in Denver, Colorado
Mm-hmm.
for the Colorado Avalanche and the Denver Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And the job came available. I looked into it and interviewed. Here I am.
Awesome college.
I graduated with a sports management and marketing degree.
Is that the same thing?
Uh,
'Cause I know some
it was a
schools
minor
just-
in marketing
Minor in marketing.
with a sports management major.
All right. Did you?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, working in sports was the goal
Mm-hmm.
after I got done with college, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what part of sports, whether it was like sales, service, entertainment. Decided that entertainment was more fun than service and sales, but it also is more hours a lot because you're working every event and you're
Yeah.
constantly, producing content. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say right now it's where I want to be.
Okay.
So,
Right. Just major.
4
minor.
years?
Well,
Who does
mine's
4
gonna
years
be
of
5,
anything?
but-
No, I did not get any postgraduate degrees. What was the entry-level job I started with? Technically, the first real sports job I had was I was a part-time, like guest services staff member for the Colorado Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2006. I stood on the sidelines, like one of those guys that in between play, you just like stand there and you make sure no one jumps on the field.
Yeah.
That was my job. And then you when there's a foul ball, if it rolls up, you grab it and toss it to a fan. So that's what I did. my first job in
Yeah.
professional sports, outside of just like internships in college, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
was that. Then, ironically, I did an internship with the Colorado Rapids after that,
Mhm.
the MLS Major League Soccer team.
Yeah.
So part-time and then internship and then I got it full-time.
Awesome.
That was kind of how the transition worked.
Okay.
During the event season, normal hours, I probably work. It's hard to put a number on it if you're talking like a work week. Like, do I work 40 hours a week? Definitely not.
Okay.
Do I work 70 hours a week? Some weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say that I average anywhere from 50 to 55
Mm-hmm.
during definitely average that all year round, and it's probably closer to 60 during the season. It's closer probably to 40 during non-season. So every day, like if I came in, like this week we have a game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So today we only have one game this week, which feels like none.
Yeah.
My staff's here basically from like 9:30 to 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the shift that they put in, and I'm usually here from 9 to 6. So,
Okay.
yeah,
And-
money, healthcare, dental insurance. I mean, those things. But other outside benefits, sure. I mean, there's some. I get to see a lot of stuff that normal fans wouldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
I know the players a little more, not personally, but I just know them better
Yeah.
because I'm around them a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to see the interesting dynamics that happen behind the scenes and really get to see how much work is put in, not just from like the players and coaches, but from staff and what it all takes to put on professional events.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to see a lot of the stuff that fans take for granted and they just don't know about, which is cool. That's definitely I think one of the benefits, which is kind of a blessing and a curse because now anytime I go to a sporting event, I don't watch it like a fan.
Yeah.
I watch it like it's work. I see everything, and I go, would I do that differently? Would I do this differently?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of I think the benefit. There's also like, I get to go to cool events. I mean, I've been to, championship games and been to all-star games and been to, international sporting events, and those things wouldn't probably happen if I wasn't working in sports.
Yeah. This job field.
3 most important skills for this job field. I think the first and most important is interpersonal skills and communication. There's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to sports and being able to work with people of all styles and ages is important. People that are full-time staff and are totally, embedded in what the team's doing versus part-time people that only show up for their 4-hour shift on game days, but are the front line of your customer service. So you got to have the ability to work with all those different types of people. And then with that communication, being able to explain something to someone easily and quickly and with a smile on your face, and to make sure that you continue to, not just read, what people are saying and what they're writing, but also what their, body language is like, and understanding, how you got to keep morale up. Because when you're working with a live team that is up and down in the standings, we have to put on a A+ show every night, even if the team is a C+ team, and vice versa. I mean, if the team is an A+ team, you just have to work that much harder to capitalize on those opportunities. So, for us, it doesn't really change what we do, depending on how the team does. And that's part of that, working with people and keeping people positive and happy. And, that's probably the most important thing.
Okay.
Beyond that, you have to be very organized. You need to have a working knowledge of your sport that you're working in, because your fans expect you to.
Yeah.
And you need to treat them with respect and be on board with being able to talk to them and explain, yeah, you know what, you're right. Our power play hasn't been great the last couple of years, but we're going to fix it, and here's why. You can be able to talk to them about it in a engaging manner. I think those things are key. And then the last thing I would think, as far as you said 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing I would say is, one of the big things in our industry that sometimes is lacking is following through and being in punctuality. Like when we say we'll do something, it's done and it's here. Sports is wide range of times because of the sporting events and whatever. But being on time, people still work 8 to 5 jobs outside of our industry. And so working with our partners or with our fans, they're on a more normal schedule than we are usually. And so we have to be, on time with things and punctual and respect them. So there you go. You mean other than helping students out?
Yeah.
I oversee all of our creative broadcast production. Anything that is a video that the Hurricanes are putting out there comes through my eyes. Like I have to sign off on it. That includes websites, all of our commercial spots on television, all of our in-arena things, whether it's graphics and how we work with our partners and sponsors on, what does it say for PNC Bank, what does it say for Rex Healthcare, all of that stuff comes through my desk and what this department does. So that's the meat and potatoes of what we do as far as CanesVision and what I do. So just an example of a project recently, we have our last game, the 11th. We just did a TV spot to promote it that we sent off to Fox Sports and to our various broadcast partners today that was due for Saturday's game. That'll start running Saturday and beyond for the next week. That'll promote the 11th, our final home game. So that would be an example of just one project. The job is definitely built on the hard work of individuals, but it's a group team effort. The broadcast department has a graphics producer, 2 producers, and a senior producer, as well as a in-game and web host, and then they have me as the director. So as far as putting together individual videos, the host, one of the producers, or maybe 2, and the graphics producer all have a hand in one video. So it's definitely a team effort. And then on game days, producing our games, there's upwards of 25 people live producing our games. My department oversees most of that. Our promotions department, which is through another one of our directors, which is the stuff in the arena like the Storm Squad, Stormy the mascot, those things that are a big piece of what we do on game day are also part of that. So there's 25 plus people every night producing our games to make it work. Today would be a typical day. Today would be a typical late season. We have one game this week. March was a very crazy month. I know we tried to meet last week, and I was like, there's no way. We had, I think it was 13 games in 22 days or something crazy in March.
Yeah.
We had 2 different 8-day, 5-game homestands during the month. So that month, it was like every day was just like, had a long list of things that needed to be done by today, sent off to various people in order to be ready for the next game. And we had a game that night.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I was working 3 days in advance all month long, already looking towards what are we doing on Friday for the game? And tonight we have a game, and Thursday we have a game.
Yeah.
So it was like you were always ahead of the game and working long hours every day. I mean, we had, I think, 22 days in a row without a day off. So that was different. That was crazy. This is a little more normal. We met as a department. We talked about a couple ideas for this week leading up to some loose ends to tie up for the last 2 games in the Fan Appreciation Week. We talked about what the upcoming TV spot will look like. Was there anything we were doing for April Fools, which is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow. And, so we got some of those things, and one of our staff members just came back from a little bit of a sickness, so we were kind of welcoming her back and just kind of, catching up. So that's a lot of it. Obviously meeting with you, and my staff just went out to lunch late because they needed to get some things done before a deadline at like 1:30. So those are like a normal days. Usually meeting as a department, talking about a couple projects, breaking off and working on individual things with me, checking in on each of them to see, hey, you've got this ready to go for me to review and approve. You got this ready to go. Great, send it off, done. Let's move on. So that's what today is like. That's a pretty normal day for us. And then game days are way different.
Okay.
A little more crazy. All the hard work to produce all of the elements is usually done, except for a few day of that we always do day of, things that are current. What song are we going to play for this promotion? Yeah. Those types of little things don't get sorted out till the day because something could happen in pop culture or whatever, and it's like, ooh, we need to get this incorporated. What can we do? So that's kind of that. It took me 4.5, really. Yeah. Spread out over a number of years. But yeah, actually being in the proper major and working on it, 4.5.
Okay.
If you want to move up the ladder aggressively, like after 2-3 years you think you need a promotion to do what your boss does, you absolutely have to be willing to move markets. 100%. If you're happy, it's a decent job, pays well, it's pretty straightforward, I've got it down, you can stay in a role for 5-7 years. And as long as you're doing a good job, you can stay in it. People don't, it's a certain lifestyle that some people like and want to do, and like I said, the hours are odd. But if you're really looking to move up the ranks and do it, in an aggressive manner, moving markets is a key, 100%. I mean, that's why I came here. I lived in Denver and worked my way up in that organization a little bit. Went from like I said, a part-time to intern to a full-time coordinator. Then I switched departments as a coordinator to get into more game entertainment, promoted to a manager, was ready to, and then got promoted to one of the bigger teams, like moved from MLS to NBA and NHL, and then was ready, okay, talked to my boss, said, hey, I want to be the director of this department. And obviously my boss was. And he was like, yeah, well, I'm not going anywhere, so we're going to have to try to find a spot for you somewhere else. Well, let's talk and look around the leagues. Let's keep our eyes open for job opportunities, and let's try to get your name out there. So then for like 1.5 years, I kind of networked and worked on that. And then last summer, opportunities opened up through the NBA and NHL, and I was lucky enough to impress the Hurricanes, and here I am. So to be able to do the things you want to do, you absolutely have to be willing to move markets and potentially move markets often. I would say that once you get to a certain point, here as a director, is there an opportunity for me to be here and move up to senior director or vice president or whatever? Maybe down the road, but those are sought after and coveted jobs. And a lot of times teams, when you get to that level of seniority, if you're going to make a change, you don't hire that position within. You look elsewhere to bring in a fresh take, fresh look, new feeling. That's how those upper jobs work. And so you're going to be willing to move. Yeah. Marketing in general, you definitely need to be very savvy with I mean, the obvious Microsoft programs, but social engagement is a 100% important, very high emphasis. If you know how to program, build web pages, HTML, all that stuff, like, you know, CSS, you're going to have a huge advantage over others. I mean, our marketing coordinator in our marketing department, her name's Colleen. She's great at her job. She does an amazing job. I think she was hired out of a 5,000 person applicant pool.
Oh my goodness.
Like, yeah. So anything that can set you apart as far as your technical skills is key in those types of roles. My department, being broadcast services, it's mandatory that all of my staff, which I don't know because I'm the director of the department and I don't do any editing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't work on any editing projects. Like, I have editors for that now. But all of them have editing skills with video editing, working in Adobe Premiere, After Effects, Adobe Audition, which is the music side, to create video content. Like, that's their expertise. One of my guys, our systems administrator, who's also a producer, you know, he knows programming. He can write program for computer stuff, for like having computers talk to each other, which that's above me. Like, I don't know how to do that. So that's why he's here. That's why that job is his, not mine. But those things nowadays are of paramount importance. Like, that will put you ahead of other people if they don't know it, for sure.
Okay.
So, technically they're year-round. Some departments only run them during season. I know our community relations and promotions department has intern roles throughout the summer because they do events all year long. My department, we probably won't do a summer intern, but we might. It's one of those things that they have done in the past and had them, you know, like cataloging and just loading in footage. Yeah. Which, is that a good internship? I don't know, in the summer. I'm not really selling it too well if anyone's looking.
Yeah.
No. But during season, our internships are very valuable for us. You know, having an intern that can help us shoot, can be a second camera, but it's usually someone that has, you know, skills with, you know, video, editing, all that stuff, production. So, but there are, yes. And they're actually all paid now. Yeah, I think that's a pretty much. I work with everybody because I run our in-game production. Every aspect of our business is touch points out there, whether it's community, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's fan development, whether it's marketing, whether it's the team, anything. That's all in my world. We have four. Well, we have four technically. Run by three different directors. There's our community relations wing that kind of runs our own foundation and works with that. And then there's our promotions, and that's run under one director, John Chase, who's the director of promotions in the foundation. Then there's the director of marketing, who oversees our traditional marketing methods as well as the digital platforms that we're on. So like the website, Twitter, Facebook, any of those things. And he's got a staff of 3 people, or he's got a staff of 5, because I forgot he also oversees creative services. The brand, the people that actually create the brand, design, our design team. And then I oversee our in-game marketing and CanesVision. CanesVision is our web player and a lot of our video web content, as well as all of our in-game stuff. Okay. So it's kind of broken up into, I guess, really 5 departments.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside, I mean, like overall, when I went to the University of Kansas, and when I was there, I was a student volunteer and worked in the athletic department on our promotions and marketing, which did like late night with Roy Williams, and like football game day promotions, and I worked on those and helped produce and create some of those things. That kind of was my first, foray into sports management, really, and marketing. And then I ran my own golf league when I was in Denver, on the side, like had a website, like organized all the events, kept track of stats and awards and all kinds of things with 25, 30 golfers.
Mm-hmm.
So those things kind of helped me like realize like that was what I needed to be doing.
Yeah.
Got into it through the internship and working with the Rockies, and some of the things I did. I was a sponsorship and marketing coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Helped create sales pitches for Major League Soccer team I worked for, the Rapids, which included our jersey sponsorship, which is a huge deal that they finally sold actually this year
Mm-hmm.
after a decade of us trying, if not more. But I remember working and going on sales pitches with top level executives, owners, CEOs of companies like Western Union,
Mm-hmm.
Chipotle, like big time companies that people
Yeah.
would recognize. So that was an interesting part of my development, and then got into this game entertainment side and was a coordinator for that, and ran around on the field with a headset on, and
Mm-hmm.
jumped in a mascot suit on occasion when needed. Whatever I needed to do. I think that's kind of one of the things that people look for is that they're looking for someone that's willing to do just about anything.
Yeah.
And beyond that, once I got into the entertainment side, I found that was a good spot for me because I am a little creative, but I'm just clever enough that I can get away with it
Mm-hmm.
and make it funny.
Yeah.
And people will understand and think it's funny and laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that ultimately, getting back into that, kind of partnership marketing, I think that's kind of, working with your clients, working with your season ticket holders to create, a dynamic, platform and fan and social engagement to really, bring the product, which is the team, and
Mm-hmm.
to the fans and to your market. I mean, that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's ultimately the kind of the stuff I liked that I did and that I hope I can continue to do.
Yeah. What's a director?
In my department, I can't really speak for everybody because every department's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Our department is built that it has an internship level.
Mm-hmm.
It has our part-time staff
Mm-hmm.
that fills a lot of our roles on game day.
Okay.
It has our producers, whether it's a graphics producer, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Our systems administrator, who is a producer, is kind of lumped into that together, but that is kind of its own thing, but those are all on the same level. We have a senior producer that's been here for a long time, and then we have a director, me.
Okay.
We don't have any, quote, middle management. There's no managers in this department right now. But I think for most places and most levels, you have, you probably intern, part-time staff is kind of on the same page. You have a coordinator. You have manager. You have a director. And then you have, and there are senior managers, senior director. And you have vice president and then president.
Okay.
And then there's, senior VP and other levels in there that you could do. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, that's kind of the way it works.
Okay, so what would be like an example of like a part-time position?
Part-time position would be like for our promotions department. They have a
Mhm.
promotions assistant.
Makes it what you want to do.
Best part of my job. I think ultimately, and this is such a cliche,
Yeah.
so bad. Ultimately, I enjoy hearing from fans when they're like, it was so much fun. I love coming to games. They're so fun. I know a lot of times there's a lot of things that go into that, whether it's truly, if you have a bad experience parking at a game, it can ruin your game.
Yeah.
If you have a bad, if you're yeah, the ticket taker, totally molested me after they, patted me down, ruined the game.
Yeah.
There's so many things that could happen. So when you hear fans, they're like, oh, I love coming to games. They're so much fun. That's really why we do it. At the end of the day, that's why we do it. Is that our friends that are coming to games, our family that have been season ticket holders for years, or just this market needs something. Raleigh needs the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes need the people of Raleigh.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we have rocky relationships sometimes when we're not keeping our end of the bargain up, or vice versa. But that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's that doing it for the fans and all that stuff is why we do it. Players and staff. That's why we're here. To give back to the community, if it's stuff for the community and helping those less fortunate, all of that stuff plays into it. So there you go.
Got it. Hopefully that one.
Yeah. Hi, Barry. Sorry, hold on a second. I need to text someone something real quick.
You're fine.
Stand by. And then you can ask me a question. Hi, Barry. What's up?
If you don't mind me asking, well, two things,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't mind me interrupting.
No, you're good.
Congratulations on your large request.
Yes.
What was the other thing besides EVS?
Storage. Upgrading
Oh, okay.
and refreshing our storage. All the storage stuff we have for all the videos is a little outdated and dies on December 31st as far as the end of life cycle. So we're upgrading it, expanding its
All right.
whatever the word I'm looking for is.
Cool. All right.
Any rate, and also eliminating the router so that now that our computer edit bays can actually talk two-way traffic
That's good.
to the source and the drives. That was the problem, is that you could only write,
Right.
you couldn't write from two different sources. You could only write once and then everything would just stop.
Okay.
So there you go. So yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Oh,
That was some knowledge for you. So ask me your question again. I emailed them.